Well, hello! New product from our friends at AKK today. It's the AKK Infinite DVR VTX. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Not long ago, I reviewed some of the AKK Ultimate VTXs, which went up to 1200 milliwatts of power, 1.2 watts. This only goes up to a lowly 1 watt or 1000 milliwatts, which is more than you need. But it's also got a DVR on board, which I thought that's pretty cool. For people who don't want to mount HD cameras on board and suffer that extra weight but want a little bit better recording, maybe this is it. And I've covered a few DVRs in the past. It's quite nice to have it built onto the board itself. So let's get it out and have a look. And it looks like this. It's literally an all-in-one board. One little change I've noticed here. Previously in the AKK board VTXs and the Ultimates, they've had a plug that you plug into. On this, it's solder points. And these really do. This is only a slight pain for me because I've already used this one twice for 2 AKKs and I can use the same wire and unplug it and plug it back in. This time I'm actually going to have to do some soldering. Anyway, aside from that, we've got this is the heat sink for the actual VTX. Underneath you've got the little SD card there, and on this side you've got 2 buttons there and there. Elsewhere in the box, there's not much in here. You've got this little MMCX to SMA adapter and this little instruction leaflet. And like many of the AKK products at the moment, this supports smart audio, so you don't really have to worry about pressing buttons to change channels. This is more, hopefully, more for the actual DVR. But we will get this installed and we will see how it works and take it for a test fly. Join me.
So operating this is pretty simple. Just plug it in, you'll see a little red LED next to this button, and you press the button to start the DVR recording, and you can see the LED flash to indicate that it's recording, and then you can press the button to stop it again. It's pretty important that you press the button to stop it again, else you'll lose your recording. These also happen in 5-minute chunks, so after 5 minutes you'll get a new file which will record the next bit of DVR straight after the last one. So just to really illustrate the point about that, make sure you don't unplug the battery before you've stopped the recording. I went ahead and I started in 25 milliwatts, which would show up at the screen on F11, and I unplugged the battery and lost that, so I won't bother showing that. Instead, what I did is then change to 200 milliwatts and went for a quick fly around. And you see what I've got there, I've got the AKK DVR recording in the left hand side of the screen and my Fatshark DVR recording on the right hand side, and I'm in the sort of big open field here, so you're not really going to see much. You can see there's a little bit more noise coming across on the Fatshark DVR generally, so the signal from the AKK DVR is a little bit cleaner. Of course, one of the differences with having a DVR on the VTX is you don't have a choice about where you're getting the video from. The very cleanest thing, of course, is to get it straight from the camera before it goes into the flight controller to sort of add the OSD information. On this one, it's a sort of processed image, if you like. The image has gone into the flight controller, it's had the OSD chucked on top of it, and then it's gone to the DVR and VTX where we're recording it from. So you don't have the option there, you have to have the OSD on top of it. One thing you will see that under high throttle I'm getting a little bit of OSD flicker there, which is a bit curious, and before you all start shouting, oh, you got a grounding problem, I've just literally swapped out from the what's it called, the Ultimate DVR, the one that does 1200 milliwatts, and that was absolutely fine. So I'm using the same wiring, albeit soldered up. Now maybe I made a bit of a messy solder, but certainly the last one didn't do this, and we're just getting a little bit of it happen under full throttle. So whether it's me, whether it's this is another question. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't really show it in. There's not much difference really. I mean, you can see it's cleaner, but we're not getting a high amount of static, we're just getting a cleaner recording. So what I did, I decided to change fields to the smaller one where there's a little bit more trees and stuff to fly around, just to generate some proper static and see how the DVR works. Also, of course, because this is a VTX, it's a test of the VTX as well. Although generally speaking, the VTXs I've had from AKK have been very good. This is the first one that's had a bit of a flicker there, which is a bit of a strange one. But you can see, I mean, you can obviously see the difference that when you have a DVR, you don't get any static because it's recording the signal straight from the source this time. And we can just illustrate that by going, more behind some of these lines of trees to really try and make that signal work. It has to be said that the DVR never quite records static as it shows in the goggles, so it looks a little bit more dramatic than it is. Yes, we can get some quite heavy static, but we don't usually get this sort of rolling screen and that. It's generally a flyable signal, even going around those trees. But if you wanted to get a nice clean recording with your SD on, of course, this is what you could use to do that. Now, on this particular occasion, I did manage to have the DVR running for over 5 minutes, so we actually get to see what happens when it goes from one file onto the next. And what I did notice is we lose about, I think it's between half a second to a second. I'm just really eyeballing it, I haven't timed it, but there's definitely some loss there. So if you're counting on this to record really long flights without any noticeable breaks, that's not quite going to work. So here it comes, just coming up as we go through these trees, so it's really a good indication of how it misses a bit. And you saw it suddenly jumped forward and it's all out of sync now. So we're on the Fat Shark DVR only now, and this is what happened. I changed over to 600 milliwatts. It says 500 milliwatts here, but it's 6. And the DVR ready light didn't come on. And even after I flew this, I tried changing it back to 200, it still wouldn't come on. And I talked to AKK about this, and they said if the VTX heats up too much, it will shut down the DVR recording function. So if you were going to run it at 600 or 1000 milliwatts, DVR probably wouldn't happen. In the case of this, where I've got it really enclosed, I managed to make it stay overheating even at 200 milliwatts. Although obviously I let it cool down a bit and then it was absolutely fine. But that's quite an important thing to know. If you wanted to run it at a higher power, you would be unlikely, unless you had really amazing airflow, to be able to use the DVR function. But this is what the actual VTX looks like at 600 milliwatts. And just for good measure, I decided to take it through here and crash it nicely into a tree, which I almost escaped, but not quite. So there you go, that's the Infinite DVR VTX from AKK Tech. Pretty nice VTX. I was a little bit worried I got a little bit of flickering on the OSD, and as long as you understand its limitations about what will happen if it gets hot, it's quite an interesting product because it's about the same price as most VTXs and you get a DVR function as well, which is pretty cool. But links of course down below so you can check it out if you like. Hopefully that's been helpful to you, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now. Well, you've made it to the end of the video, so thanks once again for watching. If you like what you saw, then please consider subscribing, and if you really like what you saw, then be sure to check out the link to my blog for a variety of ways in which you can help support this channel.